Welcome to the Natural Health Show with one of New England's leading holistic specialists, Mark Mincola. Call Mark at 617-822-1969 on 96.9 Boston Talks.
Greetings and welcome home, Natural Health Nation. It's great to have you on board with us here on the Natural Health Show, and great to have Catherine Foley back on board. Thanks so much for being here.
Good evening. Great to see you.
Great to see you as well. And what's up these days?
Not much. We tonight we're going to be speaking with Dallas from Jarrow Formula's headquarters. Dallas is a PhD. He does a lot of formulation for us. He has written several journal articles and books on natural health subjects. Dallas is just very well versed in all of the clinicals and the science behind a lot of the formulas that we do.
And we're going to be talking a whole lot about B vitamins. Specifically, we're going to talk initially anyway about vitamin B12 and the methyl form, yes?
Right. There's many different forms of B12 in a supplement form, but the form, which is called methylcobalamin, is really the only biologically active form in the body. So it's really important to make sure you're getting the right form of B12.
And it's the only one that really supports the nervous system.
Right, exactly.
Which nobody has any problems with their nervous system these days.
I know, we're all stressed to the max.
Well, and not joking about it, but issues such as nervous system disorders of a great variety, including just, anxiety even, for example, inability to regulate those highly stressed nerve endings. And again, we know so many folks in this culture these days who suffer from those kind of problems. And in many cases, the methyl B12 could be a real deal maker there.
Right, especially methylcobalamin itself is a precursor to things like melatonin in your body, and also other good brain molecules like serotonin. And so there's really great research on the use of methylcobalamin to help with sleep patterns, to help get a restful night's sleep. Quickly, I did a clinical journal search, and there's a clinical study looking at B12, the methylcobalamin form of it, versus SSRIs, antidepressants. So there's very viable basis out there for us to be able to look at B12 for depression, sleeplessness, anxiety, nervous disorders.
Not to mention, of course, pernicious anemia, things like infertility, both male and female infertility, and as we said, nervous system disorders of a grand variety. Walking difficulties, balance problems, so many of these issues. Also, sore tongue, weakness, a loss of weight, unexpected weight losses, lower back pains in particular, tingling or numbness in extremities, apathy, mental nervous system, memory issues, confusion, etc. So we're talking about a real important key player to wellness.
Yeah, and incidentally, just as a sideline, a lot of the B12 that we get from our diet is bound in a protein, and for your body to be able to release the B12 from the protein, it needs to engage the stomach acids, the gastric juices, and the enzymes in the stomach. And so, interestingly, people that are on PPIs, or proton pump inhibitors, or antacids, they basically reduce the stomach acid, therefore reducing the ability to pull those B12s from the protein. So
absolutely, and as we talked about earlier, B12 is so very important, protecting brain cells, nerve tissues, the neurons within those vital cells. Also, it's been found to be anti-inflammatory, and in a variety of different areas, been supportive and helpful for peripheral neuropathies, Alzheimer's, stroke, Bell's palsy, Parkinson's, brain and heart inflammation. So we're talking about something that is an absolute key and integral ingredient when it comes to wellness.
And we know peripheral neuropathy is becoming such a big issue because it is related to diabetes.
Absolutely.
Which is already a big issue.
I think another point that's really important here, I've noticed in my practice over the last 10 years or so, in particular, that there seems to be an increasing number of folks who have very severe B12 deficiency and didn't even necessarily know it, associated with retroviruses like herpetic type viruses, because so many folks, of course, are fighting the herpetic virus fight, and the herpetic viruses just completely deplete the body of its B12.
Yes, and there's a lot out there.
There really is.
The monos and all of these things are in the same family, so we're combating a lot. And they say even a slight decrease in your B12 efficiency in your body can start a cascade of some very noticeable effects.
And that's what the nervous system is unfortunately suffering from in many cases, this deficiency of this superstar vitamin B12, and the methylcobalaminic form, of course, is so very, very important. We're talking with Catherine Foley, of course, our friend from Jara Formulas. You're listening to The Natural Health Show. My name is Mark Mincola. Of course, we're going to take your calls, 617-822-1969. Verizon Wireless users, free call pound 969. I'll be right back after these words.
Friend us on Facebook. Link up at 969bostontalks.com.
You know, when most people hear the word allergies, they think only of hay fever-like symptoms associated with airborne pollen, dust, and mold. But did you know that many experts estimate that between 60 and 80 million of us suffer from immune-related food allergies without even knowing it? Furthermore, food allergies often contribute to serious health problems such as autism, irritable bowel syndrome, ADD, headaches, and chronic ear infections. Now, there's an effective way to identify and eliminate both your food allergies and the troubling symptoms that they aggravate. Alitas Medical Labs at foodallergy.com offers a full complement of clinical, environmental, and food allergy testing to help you get to the root of your allergy problems. Alitas also provides you with a comprehensive rotation diet, lifestyle booklet, and a wallet card to help you live food allergy-free and stress-free. Do you wonder if you or your loved ones are among the 60 to 80 million food allergy sufferers in America? If so, log on to Alitas Medical Labs, foodallergy.com. Talk to your doctor about ordering a food allergy test from Alitas Medical Labs today. Foodallergy.com. Make sure the food you're eating isn't what's depleting you.
Hi, this is Laura from Good Health. Like Good Health Natural Foods, many of the farms we work with are family-owned and operated. For them, as with us, farming and fresh, healthy food is more than a business, it's a passion. Good Health takes great pride in offering only 100% organic produce. We believe supporting local farmers is good for the community, the environment, and all of our families. Good Health partners with the largest organic co-op in New England, and our farms cultivate a diverse assortment of crops each season. Berries, pears, melons, corn, carrots, and spring greens are just some of our delectable offerings. So visit Good Health in Quincy and Hanover today. Try our organic fruits, veggies, and herbs. Our mission is simple, to bring everything farm to table within hours every day. Let our exceptional staff answer questions and make recommendations on how to prepare and enjoy all our local specialties. For store hours and locations, visit GoodHealthNaturalFood.com. Celebrate every season at Good Health. See you soon, and thanks for listening.
Now, back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by Good Health Natural Foods in Quincy and Hanover.
In Boston and New England, 617-822-1969. Verizon Wireless users, you lucky guys and gals, free call, pound 96.9. And here we're, of course, with Catherine Foley from Jara Formulas, and as always, ready to take your questions regarding, vitamins, supplements, homeopathy, weight loss, nutrition, natural medicine. Hey, that's what we're here for in the Natural Health Show, so make sure you take advantage of us. You can pick our brains, and there's plenty to pick. So.
I know. And it's interesting. People typically, when they look at B12 supplements, they're thinking about B12 for energy. It's what we first think of. We know, when people are really suffering with chronic fatigue, we can sometimes get B12 shots, particularly with the pernicious anemia as well. So B12 is, really popular, and the B vitamins in general are so important. The B vitamins serve as coenzyme factors for almost every single metabolic reaction in your body.
Well, they are centrally and consistently involved in the metabolism of virtually every cell in the body, especially affecting DNA synthesis and regulation, as well as fatty acid synthesis and energy conversion. Yeah. So, a lot of folks who, for example, example, have energy problems, a lot of folks who have the problem of regulating that energy because the nervous system is unfortunately out of control. In other words, a lot of folks maybe have a lack of energy by day and are wide awake, full of energy in the middle of the night. That's a classic B12 deficiency symptom right there. So these things require balancing and regulation, and that's exactly what B12 is all about.
Right. And then for the B-complex vitamins, it's really important to have a good B-complex vitamin, at your use, because the B vitamins are under such attack when we're in a time of stress.
Well, and that's why, folks always say, why do they call B vitamins stress vitamins? Well, number one, they're very unstable in the body. They're extremely necessary for your nervous system in particular, but they're so unstable, they're so difficult to hang on to, that during periods of stress, when your body becomes extremely overdriven acidically and overdriven with, the sympathetic hormones, those stress hormones like cortisol and aldosterone, you completely wipe out your B vitamins. You just blow them right out of the system. And again, there's nothing more important during periods of stress than to have these stabilizing, supportive B vitamins. So, they're referred to as stress vites because during periods of stress, when you got those extra heartbeats and deep breaths going on, that's precisely one of the most important things you need.
Right. And you'll never, know it until you actually start taking them. And when you do start taking them under a period of stress.
And sleep better and feel more in control of your nervous system.
You absolutely do.
You know the difference.
You absolutely do.
All right, let's get to some of these calls. We've got Kathy on the line from Boston. Welcome to 96.9 Boston Talk Show, the Natural Health Show.
Hello?
Hi, Kathy. Go ahead.
Hi. I've been diagnosed with hyperthyroidism and Graves' disease, and I was recommended to call in to just see what the recommendations are for nutrition in terms of what to eat versus what not to eat.
Yeah, and also a great supplement that I think is really important. A lot of folks have written about it, and there's been some research on it, and I've certainly have subjectively good experiences with recommending something called lemon balm tincture.
Lemon balm tincture.
Lemon balm tincture, readily easy to find at the health food store shelves. And we're not talking about a tremendous dose, but maybe 20 drops of the tincture 3 times a day in water. I think that could be very, very helpful. And in terms of diet, you certainly want to be really careful about any kind of caffeine. You want to be careful about any kind of food colorings, additives, any kind of stimulants. In other words, your nervous system doesn't need to go up against those kind of things. And again, something we're talking about tonight really, I think, plays a significant role as well.
Yeah, your B-complex vitamins to help, the body manage the stress level and keep your nutrient level, significantly high.
Yeah, and I might recommend one other supplement too. I think magnesium is extremely important. So you want to get a real absorbable. I think of magnesium taurate. When you think about the nerve membrane stabilization that you get from taurine, which is the amino acid that's bonded with the magnesium taurate. The magnesium and the taurine both are nerve membrane stabilizers, so they're going to kind of help you get better control of that nervous system. In spite of the disease that you're dealing with here. But I would say those 2 supplements, and again, be very, very careful about stimulants. And don't fool around too much with those things. A lot of folks with Graves sometimes think in terms of, hey, if I have a couple drinks on a weekend, it kind of relaxes me. Of course, initially on the short end, that's going to happen, but on the long end, it's going to actually kind of work against you. So you want to be careful about, going up or going down, so to speak, neurologically with your foods or your choices for beverages as well.
So are you also recommending a B-complex vitamin? Did I hear that?
Yeah, absolutely. I would include a B-complex vitamin.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think there's a great one that we were going to talk about this evening called B Right.
Yeah, so, a lot of the B vitamins out there, when you go and initially look at the shelf, they will say B50 or B100.
Yep.
And the levels are all formulated to this numerical standard of 50 milligrams or 100 milligrams. But your metabolic needs for B vitamins are so precise that when you're looking for a good B complex vitamin, you want to look for something that is formulated to your metabolic needs.
Absolutely.
Not formulated to some erroneous 100 milligram or 50 milligram standard.
You want it biologically balanced, not numerically balanced.
Right. Because the B vitamins are so important, we want to make sure that we're getting the right dosing, not too much. And again, not too little. The Jarrow Formula's Be Right formula is metabolically formulated, but it's also odor-free.
Yeah, and the other thing I would say is it doesn't make you feel sick to your stomach. Like so many of the B
I'm already having
vitamins
that problem.
so many of the B vitamins are so poorly formulated that they make you, the odor is horrible. The odor alone will give you a sick stomach.
Yeah, and that's the thing with some chewable vitamins is you can tell when they're overpopulated with Bs or some nutritional shakes.
Should I also be staying away from foods with iodine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I would probably watch foods that are notoriously known to have heavy metals in them.
Like?
Some of your large fish, like...
Well,
I can't eat seafood, so...
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I think obviously anything that it's good that you, in this case, you can eat seafood because things like swordfish and tuna would be among the worst.
Okay.
So, also, the shellfish high in, and you want to be very careful about the shellfish and iodine connection. And the mercury connection is another one you want to be careful because methyl mercury is in very high concentrations, as we just pointed out a minute ago, in the tuna fish and all that. So, methyl mercury, of course, is something to be careful because it is a neurotoxin, and you don't want to be fooling with those.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for calling.
Very helpful. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye. All right, we've got Pam on the line from Bolton. Welcome to 96.9 Boston Talk Show, the Natural Health Show.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I listen every week.
Well, thank you so much.
And I learned so much from you. I am calling because I have a son who has acne, and just recently visiting the pediatrician, put him on a monocycline and also maybe some retin-A cream. And I was just wondering if there are other natural type things that we can do, diet, topical, any suggestions that you have rather than just staying on a long-term dose of antibiotics?
Yeah, well, I think, first of all, the sebaceous hormones that give everybody so much trouble with these problems are driven to a great extent because of pH, the way the body is. And a lot of the kids, unfortunately, are eating a lot of fermented foods and a lot of pizza, a lot of sugary stuff, a lot of fast foods. Kids are on the run. They don't have the time to sit down, nor the palate or the inclination, in many cases, to do a lot of fruits and vegetables and lean proteins. Unfortunately, the diet becomes very acidic. It becomes very bacterial, very problematic as far as yeast and candida type bacteria, which are going to really feed this negative bacterial profile. So, the whole thing here is diet is where it all begins, obviously. And, the antibiotics make it easy to a great extent because if a kid's just not going to get the dietary part together, which is not typically, the average 17, 15, 16-year-old kid isn't going to really go for the good diet thing for the most part. So the antibiotics give you an option. But, if you can get the diet together, to me, that's really where it begins. Number two, I think that there are probiotics that are really, really helpful.
Well, that's what we do now. I did get him on the, I think, one of the better probiotics that's on the market and has quite a bit of the L and the B's and all of those. So I do encourage him to take that.
Great. The other thing I like neem oil topically. Neem oil is antifungal, antibacterial. It's a remarkable, safe alternative from a topical perspective. So, maybe before bed, you just rub some neem oil on there and massage it into the face, and you might find some really great support there, antibacterial at a surface level. So neem oil, NEEM, is the way to go there.
Okay.
And I think again, I think really if there's any way that you can get the diet together, I always tell folks if you can somehow find a way to just get 2 fruits, a serving of veggies in, plenty of water, and just really cut down on the fermented foods. Save the pizza for Friday night. Not all week long. It's school lunches, and try to see if you can't just cut down on the problems that actually drive up those bacteria.
Okay, that's great. Well, thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you for calling. Thanks for listening as well.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, bye-bye. In Boston and New England, 617-822-1969. Verizon Wireless users, free call pound 969. And we've been chatting with Catherine Foley from Jarrow Formulas, chatting with you, of course, regarding your natural health problems. But hopefully one of those natural health problems is not B12 deficiency, because we've got a world of hurt here when we talk about B12 deficiency. So, Catherine, what really is the difference between the everyday vitamin B12 supplement out there that you're going to walk into virtually any drugstore, and there's plenty of B12 to be found out there, but we're talking about something very specific, methyl, methyl cobalamin, which is a very specific type of B12. Well, the methyl B12 is different. Why?
Well, the other form of B12 that is out there on the market is called cyanocobalamin. and cyanocobalamin is synthetically produced, and it has a molecule of cyanide on it. So one of the byproducts of metabolism in your body is the release of cyanide. It's not a lot, and it's...
So people don't have to get nervous.
No, not at all.
Oh my God, I've got cyanide.
But, the important aspect being is that methylcobalamin is the form of B12 that your body knows and recognizes, and it donates a methyl group to all of these metabolic reactions that we're talking about that are so important. So it really is the one that
Well, when you talk about methyl groups, I mean, the whole idea of C-reactive protein, homocysteine, these are huge issues with B12.
Right. Methylation is very important. Methylation occurs in the liver. Methylation is a reaction with which we do lots of things, synthesis, making compounds, detoxing the liver.
It's really the genetic level where we protect ourselves from disease.
Right. And in supplementation, in the world of natural health, all of those supplements that we see that are methyl donors are very positive and healthy supplements. We're talking about things like acetylmethionine, which people use to reduce joint pain and also for severe depression.
And you know what else is positive? Our wonderful sponsors, and we're going to kind of check in with them right about now. So we're going to get to your calls. We got some great calls coming in here, good questions, and we're looking forward to that, and we'll do that right after these messages.
Questioning authority is a Boston tradition, and the tradition lives on right here.
Any questions?
96.9 Boston Talks.
There are many things we cannot control in life. The one thing we can control is how we choose to take care of ourselves. Hi, this is Mark Mincola, New England's leading natural health care expert. Join me for my monthly live webinars. The key in making your health a priority is becoming educated on how your body works and how to make it work for you. We're continually listening to our valuable feedback, and the one thing that requests most of us is to provide more cutting-edge educational and motivational tools. Join me for my monthly live webinars as I educate individuals on how to work nutrition and overall health permanently into their lifestyle. We understand that even with the power of the internet, it is still difficult to find health information that is relevant, backed by science, understood, and can be implemented into your lifestyle. My live nutrition webinar series takes place on the first Monday of each month at 12 noon. For only $99, you can participate in all 12 webinars. For more information, log on to myhealthylivingmag.com or call 781-834-2728. That's 781-834-2728.
Hi, this is Laura from Good Health. After 33 years in the business, we've learned that when you do something differently with integrity, people notice. At Good Health, we offer clean, organic products and everyday low prices. Our stores are filled with handcrafted health and beauty products, most items you won't even find in the large chains. That's why we're proud to partner with Evan Healy Skincare, a holistic beauty line formulated by skincare professionals, perfect for sensitive skin of all ages and those with rosacea. So visit us in Quincy or Hanover and experience Evan Healy for yourself. These products will transform your understanding of natural skincare. Ask for a mini treatment of these hydrating lotions, serums, spritzers, and exotic clays, created to heal and replenish all skin types and conditions. You will truly feel and see the difference, and your skin will never be the same. For store hours and locations, or to learn more about Evan Healy and all our wholesome products, visit goodhealthnaturalfood.com. Treat yourself to the very best of everything from nature. See you soon.
Now, back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by Good Health Natural Foods in Quincy and Hanover.
In Boston and New England, 617-822-1969. Verizon Wireless, pound 96.9. Let's get right to Sue in Boston. Welcome to 96.9 Boston Talk Show and the Natural Health Show.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm well, and yourself?
Very well, thank you.
Good. So my question is, I have dealt with depression lifelong. Some of my symptoms from the depression tend to be high anxiety and irritability, and I take the chemicals to try to combat it.
Yep.
And especially lately, I've noticed my body craving certain foods to try to combat these feelings, carbohydrates.
Right, trying to get some serotonin levels up. Yep.
Yep.
I don't know what it is I'm looking for, but, a bag of French fries and some chocolate.
Yeah.
But I was wondering if there were some actual supplements that I could take nutritionally that would help alleviate some of those feelings so that I am not necessarily just eating a lot of carbs and chocolate.
Yeah, Sue, I will I'll suggest that there's two supplements. Of course, the B12 is really great for energy, and they're looking at it in clinical studies. They're looking at B12 as a treatment versus SSRIs, which are the antidepressants for a treatment. So there's really strong mechanism of action there for serotonin levels. But also there's a supplement called 5-HTP, which is 5-hydroxytryptophan. And 5-HTP is a precursor to serotonin in your body, and that can also help boost serotonin levels. Mm-hmm. And I'll also adjunct that by recommending another supplement. Jarrow makes it. It's called Magnesium Optimizer, and it's magnesium with taurine and potassium, and that really will help you with the anxiety levels. Okay. Because you're dealing with both, and sometimes depression is both. It's not just low moods, but managing your stress level through anxiety periods as well. So you need something like the B12 and the 5-HTP to elevate your serotonin levels, but then also manage the anxiety that, you may deal with on a day-to-day level. And so Magnesium Optimizer is one of those products that, you can use before you go to sleep at night, and you can use it when you need it. If you feel like you have a high anxiety time, you can take it.
And it's a magnesium taurate, which is real good. Again, back to stabilizing those nerve membranes.
Right. Very good for anxiety. I have seen lots of personal friends and, customers take that product, and just it has, made such a big difference in their life, because anxiety can really take a toll on your body physically.
The only other thing that I would consider as well is I think the theanine is great stuff too.
I agree.
Theanine is amazing. I mean, 200 milligrams of theanine just kind of takes the edge off that anxiety. It works really, really quickly too.
Right.
And all of these can be taken in.
Yep.
With each other, and
yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. What was the last one you had said?
Theanine, Theanine. Theanine.
Theanine. Okay. Thank you so much for your help.
All right. Take care of yourself. Thanks for calling.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
And Mark, that's maybe a good time to mention for people, if they're listening to the show and we make some recommendations for them to be able to follow up if they didn't catch everything on your website.
They can always follow up by checking it, because sometimes we rifle through this information pretty fast. Yeah. We're going to move through things quickly, sometimes too quickly for some folks. So you can always go back to the website and check it out. It's maxhealing.com. One word, easy to remember, maxhealing.com. And you can see that we have the show podcast, so you can watch Catherine and I with our answers and our responses and kind of get back to your notes. Or also you can just simply listen back to the show anytime you'd like. So it's cataloged on there. It's archived, and all the shows are archived, so you can check them out at maxhealing.com. Let's get to Linda on the line from Stoneham. Welcome to 96.9 Boston Talks. You're in the Natural Health Show.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call.
Pleasure.
The reason I'm calling is at the beginning of your show, you made reference to this B12 supplements that you're speaking about in relation to mono. Mm-hmm. And I have a daughter who's been diagnosed with mono. Mm-hmm. I have two other children who are exhibiting symptoms, as well as myself, and we are all going to get tested later on this week.
That's good.
So I kind of missed what the supplement is exactly that you were speaking of, and how it would work in relation to helping with mono.
Well, what I was saying is that when you have these retroviruses, such as mononucleosis, or I was talking also about herpetic-type viruses, that they tend to create havoc in the nervous system. And unfortunately, one of the things that they've been known to do is wipe us out of our B12 levels. They completely blow out those B12 levels in your tissues. So the need for B12 as a nerve stabilizer, especially we're talking about methylcobalamin, which is the methyl B-12, is really, really important as a supplement to try to offset some of those losses. It's extremely important to stabilize the nervous system, in the face of some of these depleting retroviruses.
Okay, so is it like a Jarrow product that I can purchase?
It is, yeah, and we have it in 1,000 micrograms and 5,000 micrograms. Okay. And it just is called Methyl B-12. And
it's a lozenge that tastes good, too.
Yeah, they're sublingual lozenges. They're really easy to take, and they taste good. So you actually, there is actually a lot of B12 absorption that happens in the mucosal lining, right in the mouth. So you're able to get it sublingually first before it hits the digestive system.
And then what would be the recommendation, especially for the lozenges? How frequently, daily, is this long-term or just till the mono goes away?
You don't necessarily have to do it long-term. It is something that once your B12 levels get high enough, they will stay there. So if the rest of you get diagnosed with mono, you may start with 5,000 a day until you start to feel the energy levels, back up. And, you can actually ask your doctors to measure your B12 levels.
Yeah, and it's not a bad idea to have your B12 levels taken in time, because if let's say the virus is a fairly new scenario for somebody in the family, it's likely not going to show a B12 deficiency right up front. But, as that virus kind of rages on in time, you may want to be tested, let's say, in 3 months, in 6 months, in a year, or whatever. But just, I would say to be tested twice a year for your B12 levels. I think that's a really important point, because, again, in time, that B12 is going to get wiped out.
And it will help with the energy level, too, because the chronic fatigue associated with mono is debilitating. It is very tough.
Awful.
Yeah, it's very tough. Very tough.
So then, if I understand correctly, so what you're saying is once your B12 level gets to the point where it should be, it tends to stabilize.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's great information.
Thanks for calling.
All right, thank you.
Best.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right, again, in Boston and New England, 617-1969. You've heard it before. Verizon Wireless users, you've heard this one too. Pound 96.9 free call. So let us know what's going on with you. We got Paul on the line from Boston. Welcome to 96.9 Boston Talk Show and the Natural Health Show.
Yeah, guys, how are you?
How you doing?
Discovered your show, and I enjoy listening to it.
Oh, thank you.
My wife has a brutal problem with allergies like pollen, et cetera, et cetera. And she's been to the doctor. They've given her a spray, but it just doesn't seem to be working, and I thought I'd ask for your advice.
Well, first of all, 'tis the season, I guess, huh? I mean, you're really up against it this time of year, but quercetin is something that I like a lot. Quercetin, 500 milligrams, 3 a day, empty stomach, so one morning, one afternoon, one late afternoon, or early evening.
Quercetin. Is that a prescription type of thing?
No, you get that at the health food store. Quercetin is it's a bioflavonoid, Quercetin, and it's really terrific at helping you kind of fight off some of these spring and fall allergies as well, the hay fever type symptoms. It's a terrific natural antihistamine.
All right, well, awesome. I'll try that. You have time for one more?
Yeah, well, Paul, just an adjunct. I will never forget the story when we were on the old station and we had been talking about quercetin for allergies. And then the following week, a guy called up. He was a construction worker, said he just had happened to hear the recommendation for quercetin, and he had had allergies his whole entire life and could not believe how well the quercetin worked. He was like overjoyed.
That's great. I see. I don't even remember. I need something for memory.
I remember that.
That's beautiful.
Story.
That's great. That's a great story. Thank you for remembering that.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a great recommendation for anybody who has these nasty pollen problems this time of year. Quercetin's a good way to go.
Right.
I'd say for adults, 500 milligrams, 3 a day, early in the day, midday, later in the day, and safe, no contraindications. So you should be in good shape. Quercetin is actually a bioflavonoid, the very one that you'd find in yellow onions and citrus and all that stuff. So it's a food-grade medicine. Folks don't have to worry about it. You can get it at the health food stores. Works real nice.
Awesome.
All right.
You have time for one more?
Sure, go ahead.
I was really fascinated when I discovered your show last week, and you were talking about how baking soda helps, lower the pH in the body?
Actually, raise the pH, because that's all right. You're absolutely right. The low pH is acidic, and the objective is to try to increase that pH. And a lot of people are confused about pH not making a difference, but blood, urine, they're all slightly different, yet they all sort of play into each other, and they're all calibrated a little bit differently. And we're talking about significant differences in tenths and in hundredths. So, the idea is in tenths. Every tenth of a point below 6.4 is equal to a 65% 85% oxygen delivery deficiency at a cellular level. So obviously, if your pH is really on the acid side, then your cells are oxygen deprived, and any part of your body that's oxygen deprived is not a happy part of your body. So you want to make sure that a little bit of baking soda will help buffer that, help alkalize it, raise your pH, and help neutralize some of that nasty acidity rather.
I've been taking coral calcium for that same thing for the last 15 years.
Sure, of course, that'd help.
Okay.
Yep. Well, because alkalization really is it really is all about the idea of stored levels of electrolytes, of alkaline minerals, the potassium, the calcium, the magnesiums of the world. And as those are stored in higher levels, of course, your pH is more stable, more alkaline.
And I was told that cancer grows well in a body that's acidic.
Well, that's according to Dr. Otto Warburg, who only won 2 Nobel Prizes and did 41 years of cancer research. So according to Dr. Warburg, that's exactly the case. So by alkalizing yourself, his suggestions would indicate that you're making cancer less happy. Although, the laws of biology would indicate that all living things are adaptable, and cancer is adaptable and can change and adapt itself, wrap itself up in citric acids in the body and sort of protect and shield itself from some of your alkaline attempts. So I always tell people the time to alkalize is soon. Don't wait for it.
Mm-hmm. Understood. Listen, awesome, and that's quercetin.
Quercetin, Quercetin, quercetin.
Awesome. Thanks,
all right,
guys.
You bet. Take care.
Bye.
And Patrick, how are we for a couple of calls? Are all right? One more call. Okay, we've got, let's see, Tom on the line from Groveland. Welcome to 96.9 Boston Talks. You're in the Natural Health Show.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Pleasure.
Just a quick question on your opinion. I'm a personal trainer. I train a lot of weight training athletes, including competitive bodybuilders. Mm-hmm. I'm doing the nutrition programs, and if I'm going to make a mistake, I usually like to recommend a slight over-consumption of proteins, usually on the order of 2 grams per pound of body
mm-hmm.
weight, rather than falling short and going into a catabolic state. I'd like to know your opinion on that.
Well, I tend to agree with that. I don't know about you, Catherine. What do you think?
I agree with that as well. At Jarrow Formulas, a couple of my coworkers are actually professional weightlifters and bodybuilders. So they do run heavy on their proteins. One of the most important supplements to them is N-acetylcysteine, which is an amino acid that helps with liver clearance of some of the fats that build up with the increased protein consumption. And the N-acetylcysteine also helps with glutamate clearance and all of that stuff from the liver. So with their increased protein intake, they really N-acetylcysteine is one of their major supplements.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also agree that serrapeptase is a good idea to take in between meals on an empty stomach, because whatever proteins you don't absorb, you don't want to deposit. And serrapeptase is a great scavenger to make sure those proteins are not depositing in the dangerous or the wrong places.
Well, that's a great tip. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Thanks for calling. All right, we're up against break time. We're going to take a little breather here, get some information regarding some of our wonderful sponsors, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
If you're talking about it, we're talking about it. Your talk. 96.9 Boston Talks.
The brain requires nutrition just like the rest of the body. Although many of us depend upon caffeine for focus and concentration, caffeine is not actually a nutrient. Real nutrition is needed to enhance brain metabolism and provide antioxidant protection. This is where Jarrow Formula's Neuro Optimizer comes to the rescue. Neuro Optimizer is a concentrated source of the nutrients needed for memory and mood, for concentration and focus, all without being a stimulant. Neuro Optimizer supplies the building blocks for neurotransmitters, the chemicals that allow cells in the brain to communicate and to file away memories. Acetyl L-carnitine and alpha-lipoic acid support brain energy production. Phosphatidylserine, L-glutamine, and taurine enhance brain stability and detoxification in the face of stress. Neuro Optimizer is the nutritional answer to the brain's needs. Ask for Neuro Optimizer at your local health food store, or for more information, go to jarrow.com. That's Jarrow for the best in brain health formulas.
Hi, this is Laura from Good Health. We believe that sometimes less is more. When it comes to proper digestion, energy, brain, and nerve health, we love B12. Fantastic for bursitis, carpal tunnel, knee, joint, and back pain. Not all B12s are created equal. Some of our best sellers include No Shot Sublingual. They're small but potent and provide the nutrients you need fast. Mega Food Balanced B12 is vital for energy and metabolism of fats and proteins. Methyl B12 by Jarrow Formulas is perhaps the gold standard. These sweet vegetarian nuggets protect nerve and brain tissues. The methyl form also promotes sleep. At Good Health, you can purchase all your natural vitamins and sports supplements, clean cosmetics, and natural groceries, and never pay regular retail. We believe in everyday low prices. We think your family deserves the best. So shop at Good Health in Quincy or Hanover. For store hours and locations, or to learn more about our monthly specials, visit goodhealthnaturalfood.com. For everything organic and gluten-free, it's Good Health.
Now, back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by Good Health Natural Foods in Quincy and Hanover.
All right, we always talk about how Jarrow vitamins are just, Jarrow supplements, Jarrow Formula supplements are the Rolls-Royce of supplements. We really feel great about having them on board with us. And when you think about how terrific those supplements are, we've got the supplement formulator, Dallas Claratra, who's going to be here with us. And I believe he's on the line. Is that right? Dallas, how are you?
Not bad, yourself?
Great to have you on board.
Good to be here.
Say hello to Catherine.
Hello, Catherine.
Hi, Dallas. How are you?
Not bad.
I hope California is all sunny, where this is like gray day number 12 here in Boston.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but we're actually forecast for maybe a tiny bit of rain.
Oh, tiny.
Well, at least we don't have to fly 5 hours away to get rained on.
Uh-huh.
We can do that right here.
You can do that right there.
Absolutely. So, Dallas, we're going to talk a little bit about the methyl B12, the importance of methyl B12. Now, we want folks to really understand the real inside word on why methyl B12 is so much more significant, or so much more advantageous, I should say, than the other B12s out there.
Okay, there are what are called coenzymatic forms of the various vitamins, and this means they're forms that are sort of ready to go in the body. And B12 is a vitamin that acts as what's called a methyl donor, which means that it actually donates part of itself, the methyl group, to help the body make other substances like various neurotransmitters. Big difference here between the methyl B12 and the normal form of B12 is that the methyl B12 has maybe 50 or 60% better retention in the tissues than the typical type of B12 that individuals use. Plus, since you're already using a methylated form of this, it's ready to go. Big difference there. So you're not your body isn't having to take a secondary step in order to put a methyl unit onto it so it can do its job.
Right.
That's the important point. And your retention is much better.
Right. And Dallas says also we have the Be Right formula, which is metabolically formulated. And if you could just kind of speak for a little bit for people about why this is important as compared to a lot of the formulas out there that are formulated to the 100 or 50 mark.
Okay. Keep in mind that the B vitamins are sort of like a group of team players. Yeah. Typically, for example, you take your B12 along with B6 and folic acid. Yeah. And the reason for this is that there are a whole slew of operations in the body in which you have a handoff procedure amongst these various vitamins. For example, homocysteine, you probably have talked about homocysteine in the show before. Homocysteine is a breakdown product that has to do with methionine, the amino acid in the body. It's associated with all sorts of issues, especially as we get older. We can rehabilitate homocysteine so it doesn't do any damage. Okay, methyl B12, the B12 is important for this, but there are various pathways that B6 is also important, folic acid is also important, and you get a much better effect if you use the three together than necessarily just taking one alone for this particular purpose. So you have, amongst the B vitamins, very, very commonly this type of, if I'm calling it a team function. Now, you don't necessarily have to have huge amounts of every vitamin. And you also want to actually pay attention to the differences in these. Now, the Be Right formulation, for most of these, you have 25 milligrams. Some, such as the niacinamide, you have 100 milligrams. Okay, and the reason is that niacin is a B vitamin that you have a larger requirement for than, say, the B12, which you typically count not in milligrams but in micrograms. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't make sense that you're going to give every one of these B vitamins in exactly the same amount.
Right.
So the B Right formula is set to give you sort of an appropriate relationship amongst these vitamins so you get maximal effect.
So it's sort of like biologically balanced as opposed to numerically balanced.
Yes, that's a very nice way of putting it. We're actually looking at this in terms of its functional requirements in the body, as opposed to saying, oh, well, it's just nice to talk about 100 milligrams of everything. That's not the way the body works. And it's nice to have these in a good relationship. Plus, the B Right formula is a very complete formula. Right. Okay, there are a number of items in there that we don't as commonly think about as being important, such as inositol and choline, which nevertheless are very important. For example, liver function.
Right.
Okay, and if you're taking, for example, niacin because you're worried about, say, cholesterol or something like this, well, you should keep in mind that we're talking about liver function here as well. It's a great idea to add choline and inositol because they support what are referred to as lipotropic or fat-removing or fat-oxidizing aspects of the liver. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so that's the way the formula is put together.
I have two really important questions that I can almost psychically hear all of the listeners out there wanting me to ask, because the classic question with regards to the B vitamins, of course, Dallas, tell me please, why do B vitamins make your urine more yellow, number one? And number two, why do they all taste and smell so bad other than the B Right formula?
Yeah, okay. Some of the B vitamins, riboflavin being the classic here, are very highly covered. In fact, riboflavin actually, it's in the name. The flavin refers to a colored component.
Right, it's like a pigment agent, isn't it?
It's a pigment, exactly. And so it has to do with nomenclature. It just happened to be how people were naming things when they were discovering them. I mean, to people outside the science side of it looks a little bit strange. They named this after a pigment, after a color. But of course, even if you, say, eat a lot of chicken, which is high in riboflavin, you can see a change in your urine color.
Interesting, yeah.
Okay, so so that's point number one, is that you have some of these are highly colored when they come out from the system. Okay. Right. Second, the odor. I mean, B vitamins are just they're not. You don't normally miss them in formulas.
Right.
And especially if the formulas are exposed to moisture or heat. Okay. Now, the B Right formula are sort of microencapsulate. You deal with these vitamins in advance, so that each is sort of put in its own little sandbox, as it were, so that they're not as immediately exposed. So you're not smelling them on exposure to the atmosphere. Right. Okay, and so yes, so you're calling attention to the fact that the B Right just doesn't have that sort of nasty B vitamin odor.
Right.
And it's but I like to think that this is also an indication that the product is more stable.
Right, and it's a really good point, Mark. I'm glad that you brought it up about the change in color in Dallas, that, you're letting us know that it's due to the riboflavin, the pigment, because I, for years have heard, people say that they're under the assumption that because they see this pigment that they're not absorbing it.
That's a bad sign.
Right. But it's actually
I know people that tell me I won't take my B vitamins because there's something wrong. There's something wrong going on because my urine gets so yellow. I said, no, that's not a problem.
That's not a problem. Exactly right. That it's easy to get mixed up on these sorts of points, but no. If you take 25 milligrams of riboflavin, you had better see some change in your color.
Exactly.
So this is more of an indicator that you are metabolizing it.
That's right. That it actually got into the system.
Right.
Okay. It's sometimes, especially with certain formulas that are considered to be time release and controlled delivery. You can delay this, or if you don't make it right, you don't get them out. Right. But the B vitamins, no, it's the riboflavin is actually a nice marker, and you use this is sort of interesting in a number of studies where you want to see, well, did the people in the trial actually take the product that's being tested? And one of the easy ways of checking on this is to take one or another of these B vitamins that's easy to test. For example, the riboflavin for the urine color. Oh, are you seeing this change here? Because if they're taking what was being tested, it's just going to show up.
Right.
So and this is fairly common. You use one of these B vitamins to actually test in some of these clinical trials as to whether people are actually taking the product.
Right.
Well, we've certainly learned a great deal over the years about the importance of B vitamins from a neurological perspective. I'd like your short answer on why B vitamins are so very important for the human nervous system.
Okay, this goes back again partially to the methylation issue that I mentioned earlier. And methylation is just a fancy way of talking about a carbon atom with 3 hydrogens attached to it. Okay, but it's a little bit like in English you have 26 letters and you make 1,000,000 words. Okay,
yep.
The body takes a very limited number of building blocks and makes hundreds or thousands of active components. So your neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, for example, we are synthesizing these in the brain all the time. And what you'll find, and again, you're synthesizing components that line the nerves. It's what's called myelin, and the myelin sheath. You're synthesizing this all the time. Okay, and if you don't have an adequate, for example, B12 or B12 and B6, what you find is that the brain can't synthesize enough of the neurotransmitters, and this shows up as well. Some people have a lot of fatigue. So you're looking at a classic vitamin role.
It's a great answer. And Dallas Clotter, thank you so much for being on board with us, and we'd love to have you back soon.
Oh, I always appreciate being here.
And enjoy the rain out west. Not every day you get to do that.
No, you're quite right.
It's a rarity.
Especially this time of year.
Dallas, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
All right, and Stacy, Preeti, hang on there. We're going to get to your calls right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Friend us on Facebook. Link up at 969bostontalks.com.
You know, when most people hear the word allergies, they think only of hay fever-like symptoms associated with airborne pollen, dust, and mold. But did you know that many experts estimate that between 60 and 80 million of us suffer from immune-related food allergies without even knowing it? Furthermore, food allergies often contribute to serious health problems such as autism, irritable bowel syndrome, ADD, headaches, and chronic ear infections. Now, there's an effective way to identify and eliminate both your food allergies and the troubling symptoms that they aggravate. Allotest Medical Labs at foodallergy.com offers a full complement of clinical, environmental, and food allergy testing to help you get to the root of your allergy problems. Allotest also provides you with a comprehensive rotation diet, lifestyle booklet, and a wallet card to help you live food allergy-free and stress-free. Do you wonder if you or your loved ones are among the 60 to 80 million food allergy sufferers in America? If so, log on to Allotest Medical Labs, foodallergy.com. Talk to your doctor about ordering a food allergy test from Allotest Medical Labs today. Foodallergy.com. Make sure the food you're eating isn't what's depleting you. There are many things we cannot control in life. The one thing we can control is how we choose to take care of ourselves. Hi, this is Mark Mincola, New England's leading natural health care expert. Join me for my monthly live webinars. The key in making your health a priority is becoming educated on how your body works and how to make it work for you. We're continually listening to our valuable feedback, and the one thing that requests most of us is to provide more cutting-edge educational and motivational tools. Join me for my monthly live webinars as I educate individuals on how to work nutrition and overall health permanently into their lifestyle. We understand that even with the power of the internet, it is still difficult to find health information that is relevant, backed by science, understood, and can be implemented into your lifestyle. My live nutrition webinar series takes place on the first Monday of each month at 12 noon. For only $99, you can participate in all 12 webinars. For more information, log on to myhealthylivingmag.com or call 781-834-2728. That's 781-834-2728.
Now, back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by Good Health Natural Foods in Quincy and Hanover.
All right, let's get right to your calls. We got Stacy on the line from Bridgewater. Welcome to 96.9 Boston Talk Show and the Natural Health Show.
Hi, thank you.
Thanks for waiting, by the way.
Oh, no problem. I was just wondering, you were talking about alkalizing your diet, and my issue is that I have celiac disease and low blood sugar, and I find that I can't keep up with my appetite, and most of my diet consists of acidic foods because I have to eat a lot of protein to keep the energy levels up and a lot of rice. And so I'm not sure how to keep an alkalized diet.
Well, for starters, you want to make sure that you've really clarified the roadmap of what you can and can't eat. I assume you've done that. If not, I would recommend that you go to www.foodallergy.com, because that's one of our sponsors, Allotest Labs. They do an amazing job at showing you out of 100 common foods which ones you can and which ones you can't break down. So that's number one. By simplifying the stress process of digestion in your system, you're going to really support the alkalization process. Also, I think sometimes it's really important to make sure that you're actually kind of using acidity in a favorable way to help you promote your own alkalinity. And it sounds kind of paradoxical, and it is, but I think the objective is to make sure you're using the right kind of enzymes to help break your foods down, because enzymes are something that somebody like yourself isn't producing a lot of. So number one, you want to qualify and only eat those foods that you can digest. That's been tested. Number two, to make sure you're taking good enzymes to help you break down the foods that you are eating. I think that sets you up so that you're not going to produce as many stress acids. That's the key.
Okay.
All right, hopefully that's helpful. And Preeti, I'm so sorry we're not going to get to your call because we're up against it. We tried to squeeze it in. If you call in next Sunday at 5 o'clock, we'll be waiting for you. And thank you so much for all your calls, and thanks for listening. And Catherine Foley, thank you so much for being here, per usual.
Pleasure.
Always great to have you on board. And thank Dallas again for us, please. He did a wonderful job. And we want to make sure that everybody here, of course, is properly appreciated. We want to thank Patrick Stevens, producer, for doing a great, great job. He did a superb job today. And our new intern, Alex Todorovic. And Alex, thank you so much for being here. And, of course, Fox 25 this coming Thursday for folks who might want to catch my Living Well segment on the Fox 25 morning show. It'll be at 8:50 on Thursday morning.
Yes.
And I won't tell you what it is. I'll just make you hang in there. Cliffhanger, got to wait and see it. Anyway, and of course, Woody and Abby will be right up with Right Turn Radio, New England's #1 addiction program. And you want to check out our website for any kind of former broadcasts or any kind of programming notes, and that's at maxhealing.com. Until next Sunday, this is Mark Mincola reminding you all, please be wise, be aware, be well, make it a healthy week. Good night.